It is a gorgeous day to just show up. Hi, everyone. Yvonne Heath here, nurse turned author, speaker, and changemaker, and your host. Welcome to Navigating Grief with Heart and Humor, where we talk about, plan, and prepare for grief, transitions, end of life, the glitches, and the messiness long before it arrives, and diffuse the fear so we can live fully now, so we can be prepared as well as we can. So we can, instead of sticking our heads in the sand, we say, I know that everything in life is temporary. Change is the only constant. Life is unpredictable. Most of the time, we have learned the hard way. We have faced situations. We realized that we were in denial. We pretended that these things weren't going to happen. And then we suffered excessively. This is about paving the way to acknowledging and allowing our feelings, to be able to grieve, to convert our grief to mourning, where we have safe spaces and supportive communities to allow our grief. And we want to be that person, that community for others as well. We are committed to learning as we move along and knowing that we will do it imperfectly. And that's okay. And I always aspire to bring love, gratitude, heart, and humor with me wherever I go, because it's already serious enough. So let's get started. I always love to start with a little funny fact or something silly, because that's how I'm able to navigate this journey and all the seriousness. And, it's always okay to bring in a little joy, to take a grief break. And one of my superpowers is my ability to laugh at myself. I mean, seriously, I can be quite ridiculous. And when I started this journey of speaking and television and radio, at first, of course, I wanted to always look great and have wonderful pictures. And I slowly realized that wasn't going to happen. And so even now, when I'm preparing to do a show, I look back at my previous episodes. And in the last episode, I realized that my hair, wow, it was like sticking out in 10 different directions because I needed a haircut. Right now, I've gone like dangerously short, and I'm very comfortable with that. Get out the old clippers. But I looked and I had like little feathers all hanging or facing every which way. And if we take ourselves too seriously, we might be mortified. Oh my goodness, look at my hair. It looks terrible. I looked at that and I thought, well, I hope somebody else notices and has a laugh and says, wow, she really didn't do her hair. It looked like bedhead. And even if you didn't notice, now I invite you to look back and say, oh yeah, there were some feathers sticking out. You know what? Anytime that we can look back and laugh at ourselves and allow others to laugh along with us, I just think that is a great way to live. So I invite you to take yourself a little less seriously and always, always, always bring in the humor. It doesn't have to be at your expense. It can just be that you take yourself more lightly, less seriously. Something to consider. Okay, so let's get started for today. As always, I want to take a moment to pause. There's many things on the outside of that door calling me away. I want to be very present, intentional, and be here with you now. So I'm going to just settle into my chair. I'm going to close my eyes as part of my ritual. Take 2 slow, deep breaths, inhaling through my nose, exhaling through my mouth. And when I do that, I just ground myself. I just think of grounding myself to the ground, literally, and feeling the earth, even though it's floor, but the earth, and just being intentional about sharing something that is of value for you. So I invite you to set an intention, create a ritual of calming the noise, and you can join me or whatever works for you. And I'm just going to close my eyes, and I invite you to do the same if you're comfortable, and just take 2 slow, deep breaths. Inhaling through my nose, exhaling through my mouth. And one more time. That really works beautifully for me to ground myself, to just calm everything. And so let's get started. Today's kind of an exciting day. As I'm sharing this show, this is my first show of 2023. Is it really 2023? That is just mind-boggling to me. Whether you're listening to this show down the road or you're joining me live, it is still significant every time we think of that next month, that next year. And wow, I was born in 1965. When I tell my children that, they're like, Mom, my God, you're old. You've been here a very long time. And if they only knew that with every decade, you still feel, my lights just changed. do, 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 do. With every decade, I kind of feel like I'm still waiting to grow up, to feel like I'm an adult, to start adulting. I haven't felt it yet. My goodness, when am I going to feel it? And truthfully, it is about letting your spirit get old, and I refuse to do that. So I will always be fun and silly and wear bright colored clothing. I will never get beige. I feel like being a silver-haired fox is okay. However, I am always going to aspire to be fun and silly and, just embrace every decade. And as everybody else also does, there's been many years I had my New Year's resolutions. This is the year I was going to get in the best shape of my life and just be so financially right on and just make more money, less expenses, have my house. Everything was just going to be just really different this year. And I believe that. Mm-hmm. And then slowly, as we move forward, that excitement kind of dwindles as life gets in the way. And I realized that I want to do it differently this year. I want to do it differently. And so I actually looked at what the meaning of resolution is, and it said a firm decision to do or not do something. A firm decision to do or not do something, right? And so many of us, I'm going to be such a great spouse or partner, and I'm going to be so great to my kids, and I'm going to lose weight and all of these things. And here's the thing. That is all very wonderful, and it is great to have intentions, etc. However, some of the things that I've done, and I'm sure that you've done them as well, or perhaps, someone who has, I won't say it was you. I made promises to myself, and then I broke those promises, and I sort of normalized that, right? I break promises, and then it's like, oh, well, and then I'd rationalize why I didn't get there. And then I would feel guilty, and then I would grieve, feel sad that I didn't do these things. And I would do the same thing next year. Like if I looked at my list every year, it was always the same things. And then so I sort of normalized making promises to myself and then not keeping those promises and then being okay, rationalizing and then feeling bad about it and then doing the same thing next year. So I thought, I'm not going to do that this year. It just makes I feel badly and it adds to my sadness, my grief, my whatever hard feelings. So I'm not going to do that. And the other thing with having all of these wonderful resolutions and promises to ourselves, we do not know what is around the corner. We cannot predict the future. We cannot see the opportunities coming and the obstacles coming. And so again, it's just like life. As I say, I as a proactive living consultant, let's live proactively and let's also accept that life is unpredictable. Prepare for anything and change is the only constant. And so rather than not make any resolutions or not want to move in a positive direction, because I could say, well, life always changes, so why would I put this pressure on myself? I'm not going to make any resolutions. I'm going to find sort of a happy in-between balance. And really, this is my year for doing this differently, for not making the promises. I think of one of the promises, I was going to learn so much about tech and more about social media. And to be honest, those things do not come naturally to me. And speaking and being with people and sharing messages, that's my passion. So instead of telling myself I'm going to get good at all these things that do not feed my heart and soul, I will find people to help me do those things, right? And I will continue to share my gifts. And again, I love being able to say my gifts and my superpowers. I couldn't even say that before because I was always too hard on myself. I share from my heart. I am imperfectly human and flawed, and I'm okay with that. And I feel like that is one of the greatest gifts that I can give to the world, the very best version of me, and showing that I will do things that I wish I hadn't done. I will do things the way that I promised myself I wouldn't. And then I will do better next time. However, instead of that firm decision, those resolutions, this is what I'm going to do, because I always teach by example. And I invite you to do the same. So instead of resolving those resolutions to be this and that and do this and don't do that, I invite you to resolve to lean in. Lean in. We always want to leap, right? If you're ready to leap, leap. If not, lean in. Number one, I would say, resolve to be open-minded. Resolve to know that you're in this direction and opportunities and obstacles that you cannot anticipate are coming, and be open-minded to learning from them, to changing directions if need be, and to know, to trust that whatever direction you may choose, whatever path you may choose, is the right path. And along that path, there will continue to be potholes and U-turns, as we talked about in the last episode. And be open-minded instead of like a dog with a bone or a firm decision, this has to be the way. Be open-minded and open to all possibilities. And number two, I am resolving to be more intentional with my thoughts, more intentional with my actions. So again, instead of I'm going to lose 5 pounds and jog 5 kilometers in Canada, miles in the US or wherever else, I used to do that all the time. And now I resolve to be more intentional with my thoughts and with my actions. And so when I am present, when I am doing something, I think, is this really something I want to be thinking or doing? Or do I want to choose differently? And in that moment, I get to choose something better. And if I don't, in that next moment, I get to choose something better. It's a clean slate, right? Every moment is a clean slate. And so again, it's like, it feels challenging for me in a sense to not write down those specific resolutions. And it also feels more peaceful to be more open, more intentional with my thoughts and actions, and to lean into all of this. And of course, the third thing, and this is truly a part of my everyday, my every teaching, my every action, commit to ongoing learning, unlearning, and evolving. Because when we do, we are not holding on so tightly to an ideal that we had of how we should be, how our lives should be, our children, our family, our career. When we can just lean in, be open, and show up with grace. You know, when I say just show up for yourself, first show up with grace and forgiveness and intentional thought and action. It doesn't matter how many times you tell yourself in the past, oh, I did this wrong, I should have done this. And yeah, acknowledge and allow those feelings. It's a yes and forgive yourself. This moment right here, right now, again, is a clean slate. No matter what, you can, in every intentional thought and action, literally change your direction. And if we choose to accept what we've done in the past and learn from, we can create a life we choose in every step. It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be easy. Easy doesn't always have to be the goal. Happiness does not always, there isn't a 24/7 happiness life. We are here to experience all emotions. This journey we call life is just full of grief, joy, happiness, laughter, sadness, all of it. And if we can be more intentional about allowing whatever may be and not resolving those firm, I keep saying it, the firm decision, that firm decision. I've done it so many times. Do you feel brave enough or courageous enough to just let go of all those resolutions and just leaning in to new experience, to ongoing learning, to just being very intentional now, to open to whatever opportunity and obstacles are coming your way. I have learned more from my challenges than from anything else. When things are going along smoothly, you tend to be more on autopilot, which again, resolving to be more intentional will stop that, because sometimes it's like life is good and everything's just going along smoothly and you didn't even notice. You didn't even notice because nothing was really calling your attention, right? And if we can pay more attention when the glitches and the challenges come, so geez, my bucket is full. I've had all of this wonderful experiences and now all these wonderful experiences and now there's a challenge and it's here for me to learn or unlearn or evolve. I just love to have these juicy conversations. Find a friend, find a relative, find someone, find me. Let's have these conversations about how we can really change that, feeling of having to really take steps, these steps to do everything differently as opposed to just evolving our humanness. Let's talk about it. I'm incapable of small talk. These are the conversations that fill my heart and soul. And so I love, love, love that you are here. You just showed up. I am grateful. And you know that, first of all, my show, I love the opportunity to have these conversations. And for those who are watching the shows later, you can just binge on all of these shows and so many other beautiful, beautiful souls and win-win women sharing their wisdom. They're also incapable of small talk. And they understand this process, this human journey of messiness and love and joy and laughter and all of it in between. And we can do this together and move forward in a direction of simply being less demanding of ourselves and each other and more open to love, gratitude, heart and humor, and moving forward. And again, allowing our humanness and being more open and intentional. Isn't that so wonderful? So let's keep having these conversations. Let's keep learning, unlearning, and evolving. Connect with me here. Connect with me on loveyourlifetodeath.com. You know, I have so many resources there. I am learning every single day from so many beautiful humans of all ages, experts, non-experts, children, our beautiful seniors, men, women, everyone. There are learning opportunities along the way. And let's resolve to be open to those. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me. Thank you for wanting to be the change you want to see in your life and in the world. And if you want to resolve to do things differently for yourself and others, let's start with that foundation and my call to action. Plan your life, plan your death, and then just love your life to death. And always bring your own tambourine to the party. Thank you so much. I look forward to another juicy conversation in the next episode. We'll see you then. Bye for now. Whoops, I'm still here. Bye-bye.